Welcome, everybody. We're glad you're joining us here today. This will be our Marketing Made Simple webinar, Building a Consumer Journey That Works. I'm Sam Morris. I'm the Creative Director here at Smart Marketing. I'm joined by our Operations Manager and Digital Marketing Coordinator, Erica Daley, and our Marketing Coordinator and Sales Support Person, Ann DelGarbino. So our mission here at Smart Marketing is to help small business in a big way. We're doing this today because we're passionate about our local small businesses. We want this webinar to be educational, drawing on our research and experience. This is not a sales pitch. Rather, we want to pass on the knowledge we've gained in order to help you grow your business. Smart Marketing was founded in 2014 by Jeff Politano. Jeff's been in this business since 1990. Our roots date back to 1979 with Town Shopper. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Town Shopper's a co-op direct mail booklet that lets advertisers share the costs of printing and mailing, making a very cost-effective hyperlocal advertising platform. As the marketing landscape has changed, we've expanded our offerings drastically in an effort to provide a comprehensive, integrated set of marketing solutions for our clients. Now, we talked about the changing landscape of marketing. In the old days, which wasn't that long ago, there were only a few options. You had TV, radio, billboards, newspaper. But today, there's a lot more going on. We've got direct mail, still works. You can make the argument that it actually works better now because there's less competition in your physical mailbox. I know my email box is full, but my physical box is not. We've got digital display ads on websites and apps and games on your phone, social media. Everybody's on there a lot, streaming TV, streaming audio, your company's website, Google listing, the other online listings that are out there. Search engine optimization, generative engine optimization. That's when you type something into Google and you get the Google AI overview and you don't even have to click to a website to get your answer. That's what we're talking about there. Bing, ChatGPT, Perplexity AI all have that kind of capability. Search engine marketing, pay-per-click ads. So if you search for a specific thing and you pay for that spot to come up so people click on it. Reputation management. This is when people leave you reviews on Google, Yelp, Facebook, TripAdvisor, all those kind of places. So the fact is people are everywhere now. They're attached to their phones. They research before they buy, and you need to be able to reach them in a variety of ways, reinforcing your marketing message. All right, now that's a lot. So the important thing that we've found people need to do is combine multiple methods of advertising in concert with each other. We found this provides the best results for our small business friends. The research agrees. According to Comsoft, multi-channel marketing campaigns that include print media like direct mail experience a 20% higher return on investment than those that don't. Additionally, campaigns that combine digital and direct mail strategies see a 28% increase in conversion rates and a 450% in response rates. This is why we branched out into all these different areas after being strictly a direct mail company for over 40 years. You may be familiar with the marketing rule of 7. This is a generally accepted principle that your customer needs to see your messaging 7 times before they're prompted to take action. Now, in some cases, it may be more. It's a brand building exercise. It may not need to be finding a plumber today, but when I do, you want to be the guy that's top of mind. So when planning your marketing, it's important to understand the consumer journey. This is the process that people go through when making purchases. Once you see it, it'll all sound very familiar, and you'll probably recognize this in your own behaviors. I'm going to hand it over to Anna to walk you through it.
Thank you, Sam, for setting up the consumer journey for us. Like Sam said, it's the process that consumers go through when it comes to marketing and making a purchase. The start of the consumer journey is awareness. So here, potential customers are discovering your brand, your product, or service. And the goal of this stage in marketing is to build your visibility and spark interest in what you have. So an example of an ad that would target consumers at the awareness stage is a print advertisement. So here I have our Town Shopper as an example. When consumers are flipping through our booklet, whether they're looking for a home improvement, a restaurant, or anything else, they're seeing all these other ads and thinking, oh, I do want to try a new restaurant, or oh, I do need to get my new floors, things like that. The next stage of the consumer journey is consideration. Here, potential customers now want your brand or need your product and service and are comparing their options, researching and weighing their choices. And at this stage of marketing, the goal is to provide information and reinforce credibility. So, an example of how you can do that is programmatic ads. Programmatic ads have a lot of tactics that target people. So, they're targeting people when they are typing in words like floors, vacuuming, carpet, and sending ads based off how they align with those keywords. So that will push them to explore your business as an option. The third stage is the purchase stage. Here, customers are ready to buy and have formed their opinions. Your goal is to make it easy. Your unique proposition is the key here. So the overall goal at this stage in marketing is to capture that demand. You want to be the one they choose to go with when they are ready to make that purchase. And you could do that with clear offers, and you want to make sure that you're visible when consumers decide to buy. So a way that you can do this is with SEO. By having a good website and high SEO, people are going to think you're a reliable company and want to click on your website when they're searching and making that purchase. The fourth stage is retention. So now the customer is a paying customer, and you want to keep them coming back and turn them into lifelong loyal customers. Here, the goal is to build trust and repeat business within those consumers. So an example of how you can do this isn't an ad, but it's a marketing tactic called an email newsletter, which I'm sure if you're like me, you're a part of many. This is an example from one that was already in my inbox. But an email newsletter is something that companies do internally where they take a list of all their past customers and send out emails with special offers, promoting certain products or offerings for the group of current customers to keep them coming back for more. And then lastly, the last stage is advocacy. So here, a customer has already experienced your product or service, and they're ready to share about their experiences. Them sharing about their experiences can then influence customers in other stages to make decisions on whether or not they want to choose your business. So the goal at this stage is to encourage reviews, referrals, and word of mouth. An example of how you can manage this in the marketing funnel is with reputation management. Making sure you have systems in place to respond to these reviews, showing that you're active and you're actively thinking about how you can improve as a business, taking in reviews, even just thanking customers for positive reviews. You're more likely to go for a business that has 5 stars than one without 0 reviews. So just something to think about there. And now that was kind of a lot, and there's a lot to think about with these different stages. But the key to think about is, are you focusing on all stages in marketing? Here you could see an example of some different products and how they fall into the funnel. You could see that marketing is pretty top heavy. Awareness and consideration are some of the key marketing stages. This is when you really want customers to be thinking about you and even know that you're out there when they're looking for something. So by doing that, you can have a trickle down effect into the purchase and retention and advocacy stages. Now, Erica's going to talk a little bit about how you can build a budget that flows through the consumer journey.
Okay, now that you've seen the consumer journey and you've seen a lot of different marketing products and programs that you can use, you're probably thinking, okay, so what's the next step? Well, to budget for success, there is no one size fits all budget. There's different size businesses, there's different industries, there's different goals. So one of the biggest mistakes small businesses make is they might not have a budget, or they just kind of guess a number. So like I said, the right budget depends on what industry you're in, your business goals, because everyone has different business goals, and where your customers are in that consumer journey. So what we did is we did some research on a few different industries and how they budget for marketing. And we're actually able to pull this data from AdMall, which gives us industry audits. So we're able to get a ton of really valuable information about where different industries should be spending their advertising dollars. So the first one we're going to look at are full service restaurants. And this is a local analysis for the Youngstown market. So it's local to where we're at. There's different sizes of businesses. You could see like there might be a mom and pop over on the left here, a mid-range restaurant, and then maybe a high-end restaurant. This kind of gives you an idea of how much they're bringing in. So based on what we were able to research, we could see a baseline budget off of their the retail they bring in would be 3% of that for their ad spend. So for like a mom and pop restaurant, that might be starting out at $15,000 a year for advertising. If they want to maintain, that could bump up a little bit to 4%, $20,000 a year. They want to be in that growth period where maybe they're in a good spot and they just want to expand. Maybe they want to break into a new market. That's when they bump it up to that 6%. So step one would be building that budget, seeing how much you should be spending if you're in this industry on marketing. So step two would be the ad spend allocation. So this is where we're going to divide that budget. So for the restaurant industry, again, it's local to Youngstown, we're looking at about 56% is going to go towards digital advertising. That could be programmatic display, that could be paid social, it could be paid search. Anything digital would fall into that bucket. So that's more than half of what the budget would be for that. Then 25% would go towards TV, radio, out-of-home advertising, which could be billboards, benches, things like that. And then print would be around 18%. So we're seeing that there's definitely a mix of all of them to be successful. Step three would be trying to figure out what those top mediums are. So we can look at this right here where I have the medium direct mail. These are from surveys showing how many people responded within the last 30 days to a direct mail ad, paid social ad, streaming TV, programmatic video, programmatic display. And we can also see from the surveys who responded in the last 12 months. So looking at the last 30 days, it looks like the top medium for the restaurant industry is actually programmatic display. So that could be a restaurant could be sending out these digital ads, trying to hit the people at the right time, going to their website, going to their menu, going to where they can order online. That might be a way that someone responded to that. And then you can also kind of see for the last 12 months, it's a little bit the same, but direct mail and streaming TV take those top spots for that. So that's for restaurants. We also took a look at roofing and siding, and I'm not going to read all these numbers because it's kind of set up the same. But again, in the step one, budget's a little bit different. There might be a smaller contractor. There could be somebody doing more commercial work. Maybe they're doing kitchens and baths and someone's doing roofing. The roofing and siding kind of is very similar to all the different types of contractors as well. So you can take a look and see what the spend could be like there. Now for the ad spend allocation, it's kind of similar to how restaurants were. About half goes towards digital, quite a bit more towards print, and then the TV, radio, and out-of-home billboards, all that is at the 23.2%. So again, looking at those top mediums, let's see, the top one would be paid social. So that could be social media ads showing up. I know when I'm on Facebook, maybe I'm looking up something with my house, I'll start seeing ads for that. And then in the last 12 months, it's kind of the same. Direct mail and paid social are the same. So those prints going directly into the home. So that makes sense. So that's for roofing and siding. And then we also took a look at like an auto service center in the Youngstown market. So those percentages were a little bit different. And a smaller company, maybe they're bringing in 300,000, looking at a baseline of 2% ad spend, $6,000. It's kind of set up the same, and then you can kind of see what it is if they want to maintain what they have, and then if they want to grow, expand, all that too. Now this one's a lot different with the ad spend allocation. There's a lot of digital. Digital is about the same, but then there's also a lot for the TV, the radio, and the out-of-home advertising. So maybe they're using more billboards. Maybe they're getting more TV spots. So that's something to keep in mind. And then there's a spot for print, but print's still very important, especially with auto service centers. They want to get loyalty from these customers that come in. So a lot of times you might put like an oil change offer on a print ad, a coupon for that. They bring it in and then they become a long-term customer. They're coming to that auto service center for those larger repairs when they happen to. And then we can also see those top performing mediums, and the top one there, streaming TV. So I've seen a lot of video from auto repair centers, whether it's been on like when I'm watching TV on a streaming platform or if I'm online too. So that's kind of neat to see. And then direct mail and paid social for the last 12 months have been responded to the most. So with that being said, Anna actually put together a case study on an auto service center that we actually work with and put together a plan for. So I'll hand it back over to Anna for that.
Thank you, Erica. So like Erica said, this is from one of our local customers here. This case study is focusing on Brenna's Automotive Center, which is located in Niles. And our challenge when we were first talking to them was we wanted to increase visibility, build trust, and attract new customers within their local market and in their own backyard. So our approach to this was to use Town Shopper to build awareness in 20,000 homes. This is in our Niles or T3 zone. So it's focusing on those people that may already know a little bit about them, but you're trying to build trust in them and get them to make sure they're choosing you when they're thinking about these needs. So that falls into the awareness stage of the consumer journey, and it's just getting consumers thinking about you. So on the side here, I have an example of what their ads look like for Town Shopper. You could see, like Erica said, they have an offer that the goal is kind of to get people to come back in again and again. So the 10% off any repair is one that they keep on there a lot. And then where the AC recharge is, they change out seasonally. So for example, this is from a summer ad, so it would make a lot of sense to keep an AC recharge on there. The next thing we set up for them was programmatic digital. So here in this campaign, we geo-fenced in-market customers and we serve 75,000 impressions a month to people within a 10-mile radius. So that was the area they wanted to focus on, like I said before. So we are really trying to drive impressions within that market. This falls into the consideration stage of the consumer journey. And when they're doing their research, they're hopefully getting those ads and clicking on them and exploring Brenna's a little bit more and what they have to offer. It helps that they have a really good website. So when they're clicking through to these ads, they're getting a lot of information on all their certifications, all their different offerings. Right now, they just started specializing or servicing European vehicles, and I know they also service EV vehicles. So we definitely did a campaign on that and targeted those users. So to the side over here is an example of an ad. This is their top performing programmatic ad from the past few months. As you can see, it's simple. It focuses on branding, and it's really just trying to get people to read it quick and be like, oh, I do need some work on my car. Let me click and see what that's about. And then our last thing that we proposed was paid social. This focuses on the awareness and retention stage. It kind of gets consumers on both ends. It keeps current customers engaged and encourages repeat visits by consumers constantly seeing them on social media, thinking, oh yeah, I do need to go back in. It's time for an oil change, or it's time to have my brakes looked at. And those again are more general ads. So to the side is their top performing ad for the campaign so far. And it's just more general, like you could see, focusing on building that trust and getting people to keep coming back. On the other side here, we have their budget allocation, and you can see how it kind of is reflective of what Erica was talking about before. The majority of their spend is digital. So paid social and programmatic digital together make up a majority of it. And then print is also a big part of their budget allocation. Then next, we have just some of their results from their campaign. So this campaign was started in February, and I pulled this data at the end of August. So that's the duration of when this is from. The total clicks for both programmatic and paid social throughout the duration of the campaign has been 2,341. So it's awesome. We love to see people clicking on those ads. It's awesome to see. But our average click-through rate is 0.275%. And the national average is actually 0.08%. So we're definitely performing over that. We're happy to see that that is not the highest number, that's just the average. So the top monthly click-through rate for paid social was 0.71%. Overall, we've tracked conversions for programmatic, which were 77. And conversions here gets a little confusing for people, but a good way to explain it is when someone is in one of our geofence locations for this campaign, for example, like an AutoZone or a competing auto center, and then are served an ad for Brenna's and then come into Brenna's. So that's just a walkthrough of how that conversion works. So that is the number that you see there. That's how it's picking it up. And the top tactic for programmatic is geofencing. So like we were just talking about, that's when you are geofencing a certain area. A lot of times for these kind of things, it's competitors, auto-related stores, those kind of things. And overall, print and digital have been stronger together. So Town Shopper keeps the automotive center top of mind at home. When customers later see a digital ad, they're more likely to click it because they're like, oh, I've heard of this before. I want to kind of see what they are about. And then to the side over here, we also have a client testimony from our wonderful client at Brenna's. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, this is how they feel. They feel that the social ads got locals talking about them. Programmatic ads are bringing folks in that were already looking for auto repair, and Town Shopper ads are keeping them in front of families around town. Overall, it worked together to get more cars in the bays and build trust in the community. And they said it honestly feels like they just get what our shop needs. We love to hear that. That's what we want to be for clients. We want them to know that we're genuinely thinking about what their needs are specific to their industry and what their goals are. So we have loved this partnership. It's been great to see this campaign through so far and can't wait to see how it grows even more within this coming year. So it's just been awesome. But that is it from me. And I think next we're opening it up for questions that Sam will take over. But thank you.
Yes, if you do have any questions, there is a chat box you can put in there. There's actually a raise your hand button here in Teams too that I think I can unmute you if you have that. I don't see any that have popped up in the chat so far. So if you do, please put it in there anyway, and we'll grab it. But in the meantime, oh, Anne Marie raised her hand. So let's see here. I thought I had an enable mic, but I don't.
He should have access to.
Let's see. How is that?
There you go. Yep.
Hey, there you are.
Okay,
Hi, Anne-Marie.
awesome. That was awesome. Thank you guys so much. I had a quick question. So as you were taking us through some of those sample categories, with the automotive and with the restaurant industry, I noticed that in some of those, there's a big chunk going still towards traditional TV, out of home, and I'm wondering, in the 21st century, now that we're going into 2026, are those budgets that traditionally have gone towards linear and cable TV and traditional out of home like billboards, is that moving digitally over to streaming TV and digital out of home and things like that?
Yeah, actually, a lot of it's moving that direction. A big thing now is things like Hulu. The version of Netflix I pay for has ads. Pre-roll ads that are showing up before you watch a video online. I think Erica mentioned that earlier. More and more of that money is moving toward that as people are pulling the plug, is what they say. I haven't actually had cable TV in probably at least a decade, but I have several streaming services that I subscribe to, and that's where I see those ads in addition to pre-roll, just trying to watch video online about music or football or something like that. Thank you for the question, Anne Marie. I appreciate it. No relation, by the way. If nobody else has any more questions, we will move on. I do want to get feedback from those in attendance on what you thought of this webinar. If you found value, we'd love to hear that. If we should do another one, we'd love to hear that. If you think we should do another one, what do you want us to talk about? What do you want us to cover? We're always looking for ways to improve what we do here, help you improve what you do. We want to bring value to the people that we work with. So let us know, office@smartmarketingco.net. That'll go directly to Erica's desk. When you signed up for the webinar, there was a question about if you're interested in a free digital audit. If you are, reach out to that same email address. This digital audit will look at your online presence and it'll let you know what you're doing well, what you're doing not as well, where to focus your energy in the future, and how you can improve that presence online. So on behalf of Erica and Anna and the rest of us here at Smart Marketing, I would like to thank you for attending, and we hope to speak with you again soon.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jordan. Grant stipend. Thank you, Grant.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Eddie.